Mark Meirowitz in New York. He's a political analyst and a professor at the State University of New York Maritime College. Mark, always good to speak to you on TRT World. This really has been quite an about turn from Türkiye in less than 24 hours. What do you make of the rapidly moving developments that we've seen this Monday?
Well, there are many moving parts here. The one that I don't think was covered sufficiently so far is the EU factor. And that's the most stunning point that was put forward here, where President Erdogan has said now is the time for Türkiye to be admitted to the EU. So he's moving around the chess pieces in a very masterful fashion, really. I mean, in other words, what he's doing is he's saying, I'm supporting Sweden's accession to NATO. I support Ukraine's accession to NATO. That's another shocking point. But I also need the West to help me to accede to the EU, because Türkiye is facing significant economic issues. And it's kind of what occurred in our American campaign with Clinton, where he said, it's the economy, stupid. And I hate to say it that way, but that is the point. The economy is the major issue now for Türkiye to resolve. It needs the West to do that. So it's smoothing, what is being done here is smoothing the way to get more support to its economy, and hopefully for being able to open again the accession process, which has been stalled to EU for Türkiye for years, I think very unjustly, as a matter of fact. So that's one of the things. But the other point was Türkiye has positioned itself now as the major player in this issue. It's really extraordinary how Turkey has become the pivotal player on the issues of NATO and Ukraine. And that, to me, is just extraordinary. I think the dimensions of this are just eye-popping, eye-opening. And President Erdogan has shown again he's a masterful political leader, no question.
And Mark, though Sweden's membership right now is not quite guaranteed, Hungary has also been holding out, and in Turkey, the parliament needs to ratify this whole process. Do you think that's going to be an easy task, and that we will see Sweden become part of NATO possibly within the next 2 months or so?
Look, I mean, I don't think, candidly, I think many of these points have already been set out and done. You mentioned Senator Menendez. I mean, Senator Menendez is posturing, in my humble opinion. He's saying, oh, I don't know. Look, I'm confident Biden spoke to Menendez before he had these discussions with President Erdogan, clearing the way for the F-16 deal. And at the same time, Jens Stoltenberg and the NATO and the European powers are saying, and Sweden is saying here clearly, we're going to help you, Turkey, to become part of EU. And, you know, you have to look at all the things that Turkey is doing in connection with Ukraine. It's showing its prowess as part of NATO, that it is a significant, and it is the second most significant military power in NATO. And furthermore, President Erdogan, I believe, has said we're committed to the 2% of a GDP. We're committed to be a good NATO member. So it's doing all these things, yet the one point that it's saying is that, look, you've left us out of the EU. Now is the time to make all these pieces fit together. Now the EU accession is quite formidable and is very difficult, certainly because all these years there has not been any movement on this. But one part that's been discussed all around is visa liberalization. So maybe what is being proposed here is maybe if Turkey can't get the full accession right away to EU, it can get the visa liberalization. It can get some of these points satisfied. So I think that you have to look at this in its totality and not in its small pieces as one package of how Turkey is positioning itself as a global and regional player and making pivotal decisions for world, regional, and global policy. I mean, this is just very, very stunning to me. This entire event of what occurred here, the tie into the EU, the tie into Sweden, the tie into what's happening with Russia, because keep in mind, Turkey has kept its relations with Russia. I'm pretty sure the Russians are not too happy today with these developments. So Turkey has risked that. But why? Maybe it's because it needs to move closer to the West because of the economic crisis. So you have to look at all the pieces of the puzzle together, but again, it all kind of the road leads President Erdogan being able to maneuver Turkey in this way. And I think it's to me, I was stunned by it, and I thought it was quite an achievement.
And of course,
I think it's going to presage good things going forward.
And this was all happening even before this NATO summit actually kicks off on Tuesday. Professor Mark Meirowitz in New York, good to get your analysis. Thank you so much.